fellow peers. Whether you're a new viewer or a returning subscriber, I gotta thank all of y'all for clicking on this video. I really appreciate it. It's Choco here, and today we'll be discussing lesson 3 of the series, Growing Up Answers Young Ones Need, in which I'll be covering a topic which is sort of interlinked to last week's lesson, which I'll link in the description box. This week's question is, why so many rules? Do you ever just feel like your parents put too much pressure on you with a long list of what you might say are useless rules? Well, today we're going to not only discuss why your parents may have so many rules in place, but also how you can handle them in a mature manner. So without further ado, now I'll sit back and deliver the reason why you're still watching this video, which is, why so many rules? House rules, as they're sometimes called, are the do's and don'ts that your parents have set for you. Such rules may include requirements about homework, chores, and even curfews, as well as restrictions on the use of your phone, the TV, and your computer. Some rules could even extend beyond the walls of your home to include your behavior at school and your choice of friends. Do you ever feel enclosed or hemmed in by such restrictions? Maybe you could even relate to the following youths. Alan relates. My curfew used to drive me crazy. I hated it when others were allowed to stay out later than I was. And Elizabeth says, it's horrible having your cell phone calls monitored. I feel that I'm being treated like a child. As we saw in the examples mentioned a second ago, it's clear to see that young ones often find themselves on the wrong side of their parents' rules. But despite that, most young people acknowledge that at least some regulations are needed in order to prevent total chaos. So now the question is, if house rules are really that necessary, why are some of them so annoying? Well, maybe you don't like those rules because you feel that you're being treated like a child. Of course, your parents probably feel that their rules are essential to not only protect you, but also help you to become a responsible adult in the future. And yet, despite knowing this, it may seem as though the rules haven't grown up as much as you have, as it were. Bearing that in mind, let us now consider the opposite side of the spectrum, which is, what if there were no rules? Understandably, you may wish for a life out from under your parents' authority, but would you really be better off without their restrictions? You probably know youths your age, or even your own friends, who can stay out as late as they want, can wear anything they like, and can go with their friends whenever and wherever it suits them. And even though it is quite easy to envy such youths if you're not allowed to do as much, it's important that you strive to see your parents' rules as evidence of their love and concern for you. Because that's really what it is. At the end of the day, they're only trying to protect you. At times though, you may feel overwhelmed by your parents' rules. So how can you gain some relief if that is the case? Well, whether you want to gain more freedom or just reduce your frustration with the limits that your parents now place on you, the key in this case is good communication. We know this because communication is a vital tool that can, 1, help others to understand you, or 2, help you to understand why what you want is being refused. So really, if you want to receive grown-up privileges, it's only reasonable that you develop mature communication skills. But how do you do that? Well, I'll now talk you through it. So in this case, there are 3 steps that you should follow. Step number 1 is learning to control your emotions. Step number 2 is trying to see your parents' point of view. And step number 3 is building your parents' confidence in you. So step number 1, learning to control your emotions. Good communication requires self-control. So based on that, we know that we should avoid whining, sulking, and throwing childish tantrums. Admittedly, you may feel like slamming the door or stomping around the house when your parents restrict you. However, such behavior will probably lead to more rules, not to more freedom, because they're more likely to see you as immature. Step number 2, trying to see your parents' point of view. So in this case, you should try to put yourself in your parents' position and ask yourself questions as to why they're putting such rules in place and what the meaning of those rules are for you. Showing such empathy may help you to communicate effectively with your parents, which will most likely lead to them having more confidence in you because you're showing that you're mature, but ultimately more freedom because they'll be able to trust you more. And step number 3, building your parents' confidence in you. So take this for example. Imagine a man who owes money to a bank. If he makes his payments regularly, he'll earn the bank's trust, and the bank may even extend more credit to him in the future. It's similar at home. You, in this case, owe your parents your obedience. If you prove yourself trustworthy in both small and big things, your parents are likely to trust you more in the future. Of course, if you continually let your parents down though, you shouldn't be surprised if they reduced or even close your line of credit, which would mean a lot less freedom for you. So now the question is, what to do when a rule is broken? So at some point, sooner or later, you're likely to cross the line, maybe fail to do your chores, talk too long on the phone, or even worse, miss a curfew. And at that point, you'll have to face your parents. So how can you work around this? So there's 3 steps to this. First of all, speaking the truth. Second, apologizing. And thirdly, accepting the consequences. So step number 1 is speaking the truth. So this is quite straightforward. Simply put, we just shouldn't lie, because our parents can see straight through what we're saying, and that would only undermine any remaining trust that they have in you. So just be honest and specific about the details of what happened. That way, they're also seeing you as much more mature, and to that point, they'll still have some trust in you because you're able to recognize and admit your own mistakes. Step number 2, apologize. Expressing regret over the worry, disappointment, or extra work that you cause your parents would be very appropriate in this case, and may even reduce the severity of your punishment. However, your apology must be sincere, because once again, as I said earlier, our parents can read straight through us. So we really should be sincere, so that way they can know that we are mature and we do deserve more freedom. And step number 3, accepting the consequences. Okay, so this might be really hard because your first response may be to dispute or argue with your parents about the punishment, especially if it seems too unfair to you. However, in this case, taking responsibility for your actions is a sign of maturity. So at this point, your best option may simply be to work at regaining your parents' confidence. And that way, you can be sure that they'll trust and have much more confidence in you as you grow older, and thus have more freedom. Okay guys, so this brings us to the end of lesson 3 of the series, Growing Up Answers Young Ones Need. And I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it's free. And comment down below anything that you found helpful or any suggestions that you'd like me to go over. And I'd be sure to look for that. Okay guys, I'll see you all on Friday. Choco is out.